Good morning from a rather chilly Bridgeport, California. We drove up here after Yosemite last night and came out to this dispersed camping site called something. But yeah, it's a cute little spot. We got some good star photos last night, which always makes me happy. But yeah, it's not exactly private like our other one. I can see at least 5 other campers, so it's fine for the night. We just slept. And now we are heading on to Bridgeport to get some coffee and breakfast. And then from there driving to Lassen Volcanic National Park, which is our last national park. And it's about 4.5 hours away. And then from there we'll head home. But for today, one last national park. So let's go.
Let's go.
Well, 5 hours later, we have finally made it to our 10th and final national park of Lassen Volcanic National Park. It's probably going to be a quick day though, because it's quite a small park. We just stopped at the visitor centre to have lunch in the parking lot, and then I went in to get a sticker for my laptop, and unfortunately the concession lady was on lunch until 2:30, and it's 2:05 right now. So no sticker from Lassen. I'll have to get one online. But I hope she's enjoying her lunch. It's a nice day. Hope she's out in the sun getting some vitamin D.
Just stopped right after the visitor center to see the sulfur springs, which is what this area is known for, all the volcanic and geothermal activity. And you can actually, well, you can't smell it. I can smell it. You can smell the sulfur, but you can see the yellow. You can see the sulfur streaming out over there. And we're going to come up around to the spring on the top of the bridge here. What's the matter, Jamie?
Nothing, rotten egg. Why'd I have to wear a face covering now?
Danger. Hydrothermal ground may give way underfoot. Off-trail travel has resulted in severe injury. Unlawful to leave the sidewalk. Well, alrighty then. Colors are pretty though. Oh wow. Nasty. That's crazy. Look at that.
So for the most part, Lassen Volcanic National Park has been really cute. It's obviously one of the smaller parks, but it's worth coming to. The only thing I would hold against it is that nothing is signposted. There's absolutely no signposts on the main road for how to get into things. You get given a paper map and have to figure it out yourself. So yeah, kind of interesting that we're currently at Kings Creek Picnic. We think we're currently at Kings Creek Picnic area, and we're gonna hike, after taking Loki for a walk, we're gonna hike out to Cold Boiling Lake, which sounds really cool. Just kidding, we went the wrong way.
Maybe.
I think it's this
We
one.
might be going the wrong way again.
Again, there are no signs for anything at this park. So, turns out this was not the trail either.
Nope. Womp womp. Well, it may have been, but we couldn't find where we were supposed to go when we got to the end of this trail. So we're gonna get back in the car, this time put the map in our pocket when we get out again. And we're gonna drive around to another point where supposedly you can also pick up the trail and get to Cold Boiling Lake. So let's go.
We never were able to find the Cold Boiling Lake trail. We think it was the first one we went on, even though the literature said it was a 1-star hike. It was a pretty steep hill, so we were like, I don't think this is it. But turns out it might have been. But we didn't have enough time to do that because it's going to get dark. We want to get to our campsite before it gets dark. So we're now at Manzanita Lake, which we wanted to do more because our campsite's only 10 minutes away from here. So we're hoping to get just the last little bit of light and get some nice photos.
And here is Manzanita Lake. This is just from the side view. We're going to try and get down to the end still so that you can capture the light falling on the peak, which you can just barely see through those trees there. But yeah, Lassen Peak is all lit up from the sun. Jamie's still running ahead to try and catch the last light from the end of the lake, but here's a pretty view of the peak over the lake. It's beautiful. And the sun is just setting over that way. And it's a long lake, so we'll see if we can get there in time. Okay, it wasn't as close as I thought. We're still trying to get to the end here. I can actually see the entrance station to pay your fee to get in the park, which is right at the end of the lake. So I know we're getting close. Well, we missed the light. Jamie did too. But there's the lake right there, and there's the peak right there, and it's stunning. We did just find out though, there's a pullout right there we could have stopped at and been in time to see all this. Of course, there are no signposts, like we've said, so Jamie's pissed and wants to give the park a 1-star review now, but I won't let him.
Well, it's a couple hours later and we've made it to our campsite. It's pretty cute. It's tucked back here. It's pretty basic. But tomorrow we head for home. Got about an 11-hour drive to Seattle, which we're going to break up into 2 days. And we should be home.
Unless we get really ambitious.
Which we're going to break up into 2 days. And we should be home sometime on Saturday. So unless something really exciting happens on the drive from here to Seattle, this is probably going to be the last video for this trip. So yeah.
I'll be doing one more.
Tim says he's going to be doing one more. But yeah, it's been a good trip. We've learned a lot about van life.
Living together.
About living together in confined spaces.
Quarters.
But Tim said earlier that when we were driving through one of the wee towns that he wished COVID wasn't a thing because then we could stop at these little places. And I said, well, if COVID hadn't happened, we wouldn't be on this trip, which is true, we wouldn't have. So for that reason, I'm glad that we did it because we got to see parts of America that I've never seen, I don't think Tim's ever seen, and I don't think we ever would have because we probably, if we'd been going to the big parks, we would have just flown closer to them, so we would have missed all the stuff in between, and we probably wouldn't have driven this whole big ass trip in one go. 10 parks, 21 days, 3 I think state parks, bunch of national forests, and a whole lot of driving.
Over 3,000 miles, right? What are we at?
We're at 3,500 miles.
3,500.
Anything you want to say?
That's it. I'm beat. It's been a long 3 weeks. I'm glad we did it. I'm glad it's coming to an end. I'm looking forward to going home and stretching out in my own bed and having internet that works everywhere, and it better work everywhere in the house when we get home, and to actually get back on some kind of regular diet of decent food, because we've just been eating junk food basically, because it's so easy and we're so tired when we get to a place at night after driving all day or hiking all day or whatever we've been doing, mostly driving all day. So yeah.
What was your favorite park?
My favorite park is probably a tie between Bryce Canyon, which was stunning. so blew my any expectations I had out of the water. And Zion for the hikes and everything I enjoyed there, because I really liked that. I feel like I didn't get to experience the California parks with the same in-depth, what's the word I'm looking for? I didn't study them as much as I had the Utah ones, because the California ones were sort of an add-on at the last minute and a change of plans. So Utah, I knew what I was getting into with the Mighty Five, and I had everything set up for each one of what I wanted to do and see. Death Valley, I knew nothing about. That was stunning. That was really cool. Yosemite was gorgeous. Probably the most beautiful park we'd been to, without a doubt. But I'd like to come back and see some of those again. Lassen, just today, I knew the least about out of all 10 parks that we visited. I would love to come back here and see this, because we blew through so much of it. Mostly because you have to hike to some of it. It's hot. We have Loki. We don't have, well, we could, I guess, leave the generator running and put air conditioning on. That concerns me a little bit, leaving the generator running and Loki confined into the RV, just in case something went wrong and carbon monoxide. Anyway, yeah, I would love to come back to the California parks at some point. Maybe when we do the others, we can swing through these again. I don't think we need to spend a whole lot of time in them, since we've already been through them once, but I would love to spend like another day in Lassen. I'd love to spend 2 days in Yosemite at least, another day in Death Valley. What else? Where else do we go? Sequoia and Kings Canyon. I feel like those are kind of done. I'm a little disappointed that we didn't get to drive the whole route through Sequoia and Kings Canyon, mostly because of road work being done and the fact that our rig was too big to fit some of those tight corners. So maybe if we went back again to those two, we'd rent a smaller vehicle or drive a car or something like that, because then that would be a lot more fun. I love Zion. Zion was amazing just for the hiking. The Narrows was my favorite part of the entire trip, even though it was a 7-hour hike that Jamie did not expect, and we were sore for 2 days afterwards. It was my favorite thing from the entire trip that we did. I loved it, and I would love to go back and do it again at some point, as well as all the other hikes. There were a few things that were closed there in Zion as well. 4 of the shuttle stops were closed down. One was Weeping Rock, because Weeping Rock, a rock crashed into it, landslide, and so there's nothing to see there anymore except a big pile of rubble. But I understand that one, but there were 3 other stops that were closed, and we never did find out why. I don't know if it's a COVID thing, if it's a geological thing like the rock falling, but yeah, I'd like to go back and discover those, because some of those looked pretty cool too. That's my opinion.
So my favorite parks were probably Bryce and Canyonlands, but Yosemite is the one that probably, because I already kind of knew about it, it lived up to its expectations, and I'd love to go back to Yosemite, and it was just so pretty and I loved it. For now, we're gonna have some dinner and then go to bed, and then tomorrow we hit the road.
Let's go.
Let's go.